Today we're learning how to photograph football. No, not the American one where people stop every 5 seconds for a meeting about sandwiches and then they congratulate each other for moving the ball 3 meters forward. I mean proper football, the world's king sport. The one where players occasionally kick the ball but mostly roll around clutching their shin like it's been stolen by an invisible ref. Football is the most popular sport on earth. Billions watch it every week, which is strange because most matches end with absolutely nothing happening. Just imagine watching the Titanic for 3 hours and at the end, the boat just doesn't sink. That's football. But despite that, people worship it. Fans chant, cry, throw beer in the air, which is probably why stadiums also smell of a floor of a student pub. Players get paid enough money to buy islands, while photographers on the sideline, they get paid in exposure, which is ironic because they're literally standing outside for hours in the rain. And that's what we're here for, photographing football, because anyone can watch it, but only a select few can capture the exact moment a striker scores, a manager explodes, or a defender pretends to dive from light contact with a shoelace. By the end of this video, you will know how to photograph football like a pro, or at least convince people you are one. Okay, first up, let's talk about gear. Classic option for lenses is the 7200 f2.8. It's great for sideline action. 400mm prime is the dream if you have deep pockets and a strong spine. Both are amazing. Both are expensive, but remember, you can't really put a price on art. Well, except you can, of course you can. It's about 3,000 euro, which, funny enough, is also the price of a small used car. And don't forget the camera body itself. For football, you will want something that can shoot really fast, ideally at least 10 frames per second or more. Otherwise, you will miss the split-second magic. Autofocus tracking is just as important as burst rate. Modern cameras, mirrorless cameras, with face or eye detection can feel like cheating, while older DSLRs with solid autofocus modules, think of the 7D Mark II or the Nikon D500, they still hold up well. Full-frame cameras shine under floodlights with cleaner files, but if you have a crop sensor, so APS-C, that's actually a bonus in daylight. Your 200mm lens, suddenly it behaves like a 300mm, giving you that extra free reach. And luckily, you don't need to remortgage your house. You see, Sigma and Tamron, they make cheaper 70-200s. They also have the 150-600 lenses, which are slower, meaning they let in less light, but they are usable in daylight. Just avoid floodlight games unless you want your photos to look like a 1997 VHS tape. One more thing, long lenses are heavy. Unless you have the forearms of a blacksmith, get a monopod. It'll save your back and your dignity when you don't want to collapse halfway through the first half, ideally. Now, the ideal setup is actually having two cameras, one with a long lens for faraway action and another one for something closer. So you think of goals, celebrations, managers looking like they're about to combust. But if you're just starting out, don't worry, nobody expects you to show up to a Sunday League game with a lens arsenal that looks like you're invading a small country. Start with what you got and build from there. The best camera is the one that you can afford. Talking about settings, football moves fast, so set your shutter speed to at least 1,000 of a second, because slower than that and you will accidentally invent modern art, which is fine unless you're trying to sell sports photos and not an oil painting called Man Runs Into Blur. Go as wide as your aperture allows. That means the lowest f number your lens can manage, think f2.8, f4. This keeps your subject sharp while the background melts away into a blur. It's called bokeh, but to most people it just means, ooh, that looks fancy. For focusing, if you're on a DSLR, stick to a single point autofocus and aim for the chest. It is the biggest target, and trying to lock focus on a moving leg is about as reliable as betting on England in a penalty shootout. If you got a modern mirrorless camera with human or eye detection, use that. It's like having a small robot assistant whose only job is to stalk athletes. Use high-speed continuous burst. If your camera can do, say, 12 frames per second, let it. Don't handicap yourself by shooting single frame or slower bursts. More frames means more chances to nail the shot. And sure, it also means that you'll have more chances to fill your hard drive with 900 nearly identical photos of the same dude jogging, but that's the price of progress. And shoot RAW if your camera's buffer can handle it. RAW gives you more flexibility when you are editing, but it also eats memory and slows things down. If you're just starting out, JPEG is absolutely fine. It's faster, easier, and it won't fill your hard drive with 900 identical files you never touch. Now, I'm not going to start the war between RAW and JPEG here. Use whatever keeps you shooting instead of swearing at your camera. Before you even step onto the touchline, make sure that you're actually ready. Football photography isn't just about talent. It's about not discovering that your only memory card is still back home in your laptop. Batteries charge, plural. 1 battery is optimism, 2 is preparation, 3 is wisdom. Nothing kills your credibility faster than asking a referee if you can borrow a USB-C cable mid-match. Empty your memory cards. Format them beforehand. You really don't want to delete your aunt's wedding photos at halftime just to make space for a blurry throw-in. Rain protection. Remember, football laughs at weather forecasts. Bring a rain cover, a plastic bag, or in a pinch, sacrifice your dignity with a hotel shower cap. Your camera doesn't care how you look. It just doesn't want to drown. Lens cloth, because mud, rain, and occasionally players will fly at you. A dirty lens means your 2000 setup now looks like it was shot through a baked potato. Don't forget appropriate clothing. You're outside for 2 hours on grass in November. Dress like you're going hiking in Iceland. Use gloves that you can still press buttons with. They are worth their weight in gold. Snacks and water. Yes, you're working, but have you ever tried to pan a 40-yard counterattack while you're dehydrated? Exactly. Also, arrive early. And I don't mean early for warm-ups. I mean properly early. Enough time for credentials, parking, traffic, security checks, and finding your spot. The earlier you are, the calmer you will be, and the more headspace you will have to predict the unpredictable once the whistle blows. Where you stand matters a lot, so don't go directly behind the goal, unless you're hoping to start a career in net photography. Instead, the sweet spots are near the corner or just off the 18-yard line. That way you get players running towards you, you get the battles in the box, and occasionally you do get the players screaming at the referee moment. Avoid standing in the assistant referee's running lane. They patrol up and down one side of the pitch all game. And obviously if you're parked there, you will end up with 300 photos of their backs. Unless you're secretly working on a coffee table book called The Secret Life of Assistant Referees, that's not really useful. Also, watch out for the warm-up zones. Subs often spend half of the match running up and down the touchline right in front of you. So, if you set up there, your epic action shots turn into fitness drill portraits. Pay attention to the sun. If you can, keep it behind you. That makes your life so much easier. If it's in front of you, well, congratulations. You've just discovered the genre of photography known as silhouettes of mystery footballers. If you're not shooting for a specific team, then stick to the same spot for both halves. That way you capture both sides attacking and defending from the same angle instead of spending 45 minutes photographing the back of one team's defenders and occasionally a pigeon. There's always a pigeon. And finally, don't shoot from the halfway line. I've seen people actually recommend this. At big events, you would get kicked out, but that's not really the main problem here. The real issue is that 99% of what you will capture there will be the players' backs. And unless you're doing an expose on shoulder blades, it's not really a good look. But that's my opinion. Start before the match even begins. Warm-ups are a goldmine. Players and managers, they're more relaxed, sharing little moments that you won't see once the whistle finally blows. It's also the perfect time to test your camera settings and, like the players, warm up yourself. Well, except instead of stretching your hamstrings, you're fiddling with ISO and wondering why you didn't clean your lens beforehand. Don't forget the fans. The mood of the stadium is as much part of the story as the action on the pitch. Capture the banners, the cheers, the heartbreak, and the guy in row Z who definitely should have worn a t-shirt before painting himself neon green. And after the final whistle, stick around. There are plenty of photos to be had. Players collapsing, managers shaking hands through gritted teeth, and the fans either celebrating like it's a national holiday or leaving early to beat the traffic. When a goal is scored, don't stop shooting. Capture obviously the immediate celebration, but also keep following the scorer afterwards. Fill the frame, crop out the junk, stay on them until they're done fist pumping, knee sliding, or pretending they've just been sniped by a tranquilizer dart. Keep your horizons level. Yes, sometimes it does feel like the pitch is tilted, especially if your team is losing, but in your photos, it just looks wrong. Change your perspective, sit down or kneel. Low angles make your shots look more dramatic. You will see faces, eyes, emotion, and suddenly your photos say epic gladiator battle instead of slightly awkward group jog. Don't forget the ball. It's literally the point of the whole sport. A beautifully timed shot with the ball in frame has context. Without it, it just looks like a bunch of adults chasing invisible bees. Football is basically theater, except instead of Shakespeare, it's 22 people improvising badly with the ball. Capture the story and not just the pass. Know the sport. Listen, if you don't understand the rules, you're basically playing bingo with your shutter button. A photo might look great, but if it turns out to be a throw-in, don't expect anyone to hang it in a gallery. Predict the play. Don't chase the ball with your lens. That's a quick way to get dizzy and miss everything. Instead, chase where the ball is going to be. Football is like physics. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion unless clattered by a defender. Corners, they're golden opportunities. Pre-focus on the area where the ball is likely to land. Don't set your aperture too narrow. You want to have enough depth of field to catch a cluster of players, not just one unlucky dude's earlobe. And then when the ball does come in flying, unleash burst mode like you've just discovered machine gun photography. Back button focus here is your best friend. It lets you control when you actually lock on instead of leaving it up to your camera's best guess, which it is often wrong. Listen to the crowd. A sudden rise in noise is often the warning siren that something's about to happen. An attack, a foul, or occasionally just a streaker. Either way, get ready. And always have both of your eyes open. One eye on the viewfinder and the other open for the world. It feels weird at first, but it gives you peripheral vision, which is essential. Because while you're zoomed in on one winger, something far more important might be happening right behind you, like a brawl or a dog on the pitch, or both. Mind your framing. If you cut the ball out of your shot, well, it just looks like players are part of a highly experimental dance routine, which, to be fair, could probably still get a grant from the Arts Council. Burst responsibly. High-speed continuous is vital, but don't just spray 20 frames per second and then hope for the best. Otherwise, you know what's going to happen. You will be spending your Sunday night scrolling through 4,000 nearly identical photos of grass and hating yourself more with every single click. When editing, tweak exposure, contrast, and white balance. Don't overdo it. Nobody wants to see a match that looks like it was played on Mars. Unless Elon Musk sponsors your team, in which case, go nuts. Level your horizons. Seriously, crooked horizons are the most common rookie crime, and it takes about 2 seconds to fix. Do it and your photos instantly look a million times more professional. Don't do it and then it looks like the pitch was built on a hill. Keep post-processing subtle. Think of it as fine-tuning and not reconstructing. If you're spending hours trying to save a photo, chances are the problem wasn't in Lightroom. It was you. Learn to get it right in camera first and use editing to polish and not rescue. Stay consistent. Apply the same style of edits across your shots so that they actually feel like a coherent set. You don't want one photo looking like it belongs in Vogue and the next one looking like it came from a CCTV camera. Crop carefully. Tighten the frame to focus on the story, the goal, the tackle, the celebration. Nobody really needs a perfectly sharp photo of a random fan in the background eating a hot dog in a way that it will haunt your dreams forever. And that's how you photograph football. With the right gear, clever positioning, and the ability to predict the unpredictable, you will capture moments that will last forever. Or at least until you accidentally delete them while looking for cat memes. Remember, football photography is not about owning the most expensive lens or shooting 20 frames per second like you're trying to reboot the Matrix. It's about telling the story, the drama, the chaos, the heartbreak, the glory, and sometimes a manager who looks like he's about to have an aneurysm over a throw-in. You will mess up. Everybody does. You will miss goals while changing your settings or perfectly capture a referee's bald spot instead of the winning header. And that's normal. The trick is to keep shooting. Keep turning up and keep pretending that you know what you're doing. Which, fun enough, isn't that how most of life works too? So in many ways, football photography is just like football itself. Lots of running around, occasionally flashes of magic, and a constant suspicion that someone, somewhere, is being massively overpaid. But when you finally freeze that moment, the goal, the roar of the fans, or the triumphant knee slide, you will have proof that you were there. So grab your camera, head to the pitch, and remember this, you're not just photographing football. You're photographing theater, tragedy, comedy, and on a bad day, interpretive dance in mud. Or to put it in another way, art. Click like now because one day archaeologists will find this and they're going to be wondering, did anyone care? Thank you for watching, guys. Keep your horizons levels, and in the immortal words of Benfica's motto, E pluribus unum, which roughly translated means please subscribe. Take it easy, guys. Stay safe.